everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got a great project for you today. Take a look at this quilt behind me. Isn't this fun? We're calling this two-way street because to me it kind of looks like mini traffic jams. It's got a lot of modern qualities to it, which I really like. It's a fun and easy block, and let me show you how to do that. So to make this quilt, what you're going to need is 2 packs of 5-inch squares, and we have used Authentic, etc. by Sweetwater for Moda, and it's just a darling print. You're going to need some background fabric, and we're using 4 1/4 yards of background fabric, and that takes care of all this, plus your first border and your setting triangles that are here on every other row. And we each went with the background because we just wanted to introduce a new color. So you play with your fabric and use whatever color you choose, but you're going to need 4 1/4 yards. All right, now for your border out here, this is a big 6 1/2-inch border. It's a nice big border, and we used 1.5 yards for that. The backing is 5 1/4 yards, and it makes a great size quilt. It's 74 by 86. So let me show you how to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our little 5-inch squares, and we're going to take all of them and cut them in half, just like this. So you can lay it on the 2 1/2-inch line and just cut them straight in half like this. Now for 54 of those, you're going to cut those in half again. All right? So we're going to have some 2 1/2-inch squares and some 2 1/2 by 5-inch rectangles to make this block. You're going to need 4 of these for each block, and you're going to need 4 of these for each block as well. Then we have to cut our background. There's 2 ways to do this. We need some 1 1/2-inch strips and some 2 1/2-inch strips. When I cut strip sets, I like to fold my fabric in half so that I have less area to mess up. You just have to make sure that your fold lines up exactly. I line mine up on the dots of the selvage and make sure it's lined up nice and straight. And you can do this 2 ways. You can cut a 1 1/2-inch strip and cut your pieces out of that, or you can take the width of the piece that you need. So 5. One of our strips is cut 5 inches. One of them is cut 5 1/2, and you can cut a strip set. So I'll cut a 5-inch strip set right here and show you what I'm talking about. So you can do this, and then you can take this piece. This is already now cut at 5, and we will then cut these into 2 1/2 by 2 1/2-inch pieces. So we'll just do this, and that will give us our 2 1/2 by 5-inch rectangles that we need to match with those. And then for our little ones, we'll cut 1 1/2s. Now you're going to need some 1 1/2 by 5s and some 1 1/2 by 5 1/2s. And I'll show you how to put that together. It'll all make sense to you, don't worry. So now we've got all of our pieces cut and we're ready to make our block. You notice I have some of mine labeled. That's because I just get mixed up and I'm a messy creator and it keeps them together for me. So what I'm going to do is, this is the little block we're going for. And we're going to take one of our pieces right here, our little rectangles, 2 1/2 by 5-inch rectangles, and we're going to take a 2 1/2 by 5-inch background piece over here, put them together, and we're going to take a 2 1/2-inch square and snowball the top of this. Now I'm going to finger press a line. You can draw the line or press the line, and we have to lay it so that this point goes in. It goes in toward the fabric, and you want to make sure that it's sewn on that side of your strip. And so we're going to go ahead and take this to the sewing machine and sew right on the line. All right, here we go. So we're just going to sew right across, right on the line. And then I like to fold it back and make sure that I did a good job and my corner is covered, and it is. So then we can trim that little piece off right there. And I'm just laying my ruler 1/4 inch from my seam line and cutting off that little piece, and I'm going to go and press it back. All right. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our 1 1/2-inch pieces, and we know these are 5 inches tall, so we're going to take a 1 1/2 by 5-inch strip, and we're going to sew it right in the middle like that, and go ahead and sew a 1/4 inch down the side, putting this strip right down the middle. So just line it up on your edges and sew a 1/4 inch. There we go, and one more. I'm just going to open this up and just kind of finger press it back, and then I'm going to add my other piece to it, fold it toward it. And I always like to start, if I have a strip that I'm adding, if there's a seam in it, I always like to start at the other end. I don't know why. It's like less bulk or something like that. All right. So then we can press this open now. And I'm going to press this so this little seam goes to the middle and lays down real nice. See how nice that is laid down right there? I'll put it right there so you can see it. All right. Now the last thing we need to do for our block to complete it is take our 1.5 by 5.5 inch strip, and we're going to put it right across the top. So this is our little topper strip right here. And we're just going to sew that on right on the top. And then again, that was 1/4 inch. All right, so I've got those seams all nice and flat. Now, this block, in order for it to work, because we are going to rotate it around, it's got to be square. So make sure you square up your blocks. For mine, our block is 5.5 one direction, and we need it 5.5 the other direction. So I'm going to lay that on my mat and trim off 1/2 inch. And then this squares it up so that it can then work together as a block. Whenever you add a strip, you have to do a little bit of fiddling to make sure that they're all the same size. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to turn this like this. Each block is going to be turned. Here's one more, and so, you know, here's how it is straight, then we're going to turn it. See how it comes together and it makes this cute little pinwheel thing? I have this row that's already sewn together, so let me use that one. Here's our top right here, and then this one is going to come this way. Wait for it. There, wait. There we go. I get so turned around. All right, here we go. All right, so we're watching these right here. We want them in, over, up, and over. That's what we're watching for. We're also watching for these little ones to all be pointing inward. And then our top strip comes as a crisscross. It kind of makes a little secret Illinois road. Because it's background fabric, it doesn't show up too much. So then what we're going to do is we're going to sew these two together and sew them onto this other strip that I've already gotten prepared. So we're going to go ahead and sew this 1/4 inch right down. And then we're going to add this to the other side. And I'm just going to lay my piece right along the edge, take a few stitch, make sure I have a center seam in here, even though I have that little, the little sashing strip, I still have a center seam. And we're going to go ahead and put that on there. And this is our little block right here. All righty. How fun is this? Isn't that fun? All right, so now I want you to come with me to the quilt and take a look at how we put this together. So we wanted to stagger these, so it just gave it a little more movement. So on the first block here, we put a sashing strip in between every block, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. On the next row, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, but we have a little setting, a wide sashing strip on the sides here, right here, on both ends, and that offsets itself. So it gives it some movement. So 3 rows are done whole and 3 rows are done with that sashing strip. So here's our little sashing strips. I'll show you what I'm talking about right here at the table. And we're just going to sew our blocks together. Block, strip, block, strip, just like this. And you're going to make sure that your strips are the same length as your block. You can see mine's a little short. I pre-cut them, and I would wait to do that until your block is finished so you make sure that it just matches up just perfectly. And we're going to do our whole row like that. So strip, block, strip, block, strip, block, just like that. All right? Then the next row, we are going to start it with these rectangles right here. And these are, I think they're 6. Let me see. Let me check here. 6.5 by 10. So a 6.5 by 10 inch rectangle, and we're going to start our row with one of those. And what that does is it offsets our block. So now we have this cool movement going on. And then you're just going to continue and sash a little sashing strip and a block and a sashing strip and a block, and ending that row with the same big block. So you're going to do that for every other row. And it just makes this quilt come together so nice and so quick, gives it some movement, gives it just a little bit different look, and it's just fun to try something new, isn't it? So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the two-way street quilt from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.